inspirational movement in somebody to move away from where they are. Hence my talk today about being comfort zone, which is kind of a different take on what comfort zone may mean to you. So, how many of you here like stories, by a show of hands? And how many of you here know that stories give a powerful message, by a show of hands? Thank you. Story. So there was a young girl. This young girl, she was just boisterous. She just loved being who she was. Very unique. She didn't feel a need to follow anything or anyone. She was just content in living in her own world and being inquisitive about things. And she really, really loved to experience and dream. And that dreaming just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And she dreamt so much that she was dreaming in school all the time. Until one day, in a PE class, the PE teacher took a ball and he threw the ball at her. She didn't know why the ball was thrown at her. It broke her finger. All she heard was the teacher saying, "Next time you daydream like that, I will make sure that I throw that ball harder. Do you understand?" This little 6-year-old girl really didn't understand. She nodded. And then she parked that thought aside, and then she carried on as she was. And she grew, and she grew, and she played, and she became more and more adventurous in doing all sorts of things. Eventually, the day came where she got married. And when she got married, as adventurous as she was, she moved to another country because her love for music was so integrated in her that all she looked at was the family she was getting married into were musicians. They played music, and that was a good enough reason for her to get married and move all the way to another country, which she did. However, little did she know that that life was going to be a life of torture, emotional, mental, physical abuse, and rape. She didn't know why all this was happening to her, but she didn't even know that the havoc of the PE teacher was playing in her head. Maybe that was the time that she made that decision that I'm not good enough. I deserve everything I get. She thought that was it. That's how she's got to live her life, because she didn't realize she could get out of that situation. She continued. She eventually got pregnant, which was the happiest day of her life. She was ecstatic because this baby, this beautiful baby, was there to heal her, to heal her wounds. It was the happiest day of her life. Until that baby was old enough and the abuse started again. And the baby got taken away from her as a deep, deep inflict of pain for her being her own individual soul. That was 16 years ago, and that young lady is me. And why am I sharing this story with you? I'm sharing this story with you because we think a comfort zone is something we've got to be in. But isn't that really an uncomfortable zone? Isn't the comfort zone really being your essence? I'm sharing my story today, and I have the privilege of sharing this. I've shared it to many people in India and US, and not because I want people to feel what I felt or go through what I felt, but I'm standing here as an inspiration to each and every single one of you today, because I'm absolutely living my truth today. Do you think that was uncomfortable, going through that? Absolutely. And you cannot even express into words the pain. I haven't seen my child since he was 5 years old. My child is now 20. However, I got to know a real truth about myself. And so when Kanu asked me, what topic would you like to talk about? I thought, what's the one thing that keeps people stuck? Isn't it the notion of having a comfort zone? However, is your growth in your comfort zone? It's not, is it? So how can it be a comfort zone? Isn't your comfort zone the place where you can play and be who you are? Isn't it a place where you can actually step up on a stage and let it be the gift to share and inspire? Isn't that the comfort zone? So what limits us? What limits us from really stepping out of this when we make this decision? I share with you that through this journey, it was in Kenya, by the way, I lived there, so I was a British passport holder, I could not work. Through that time in my life, even from a young age, my notion was always that of an entrepreneur. I created things where nobody else thought of things. I did things to bring in money where nobody else, so even when I was not given any money, I had my own abundance there. And I survived because of that mindset. And that's what I'm out there to share with you, each and every single one of you. Because you all have a gift. And you're all unique. You are so special. And isn't it time now to really own that? To be who you are. And to look at these limiting factors and think, am I choosing to limit myself with this? Because had I stayed there, I would be in that story. So could it be that I'm not that story? And the story is what we play up in our head? I have an incredible husband today, my husband Jay. And, you know, he's given me so much freedom to be who I am. However, I changed my beliefs around that. And I have seen so many people go through relationship after relationship, after relationship, after relationship, and still not get the message. Yeah? And the message is actually, look at this. Because when I met Jay, I knew instantly. Because I allowed myself to be exercised in whatever way I needed to be. Because my focus was always on my joy path. On my what, please? Joy path. So why do I say joy path? Because, see, I just shared with a couple of people earlier, if you're on a journey, doesn't a journey have an end? Yeah? Well, we don't know where our end is, right? Because we're limitless. We are limitless beings. And you each have that limit of a limitlessness within you. And that's why I call this the joy path. Because the joy path is actually, if you look at each situation, wow, and this is what I do now. And I look at this and I invite you to take these tools. Every time something doesn't work, because if we're on this earth, we've got to heal. Right? Otherwise we wouldn't be on this earth. Each of us. I'm just as much a student of life as you all are. And we've always got that learning to take into our life. So be a student of life. However, I take it to a very next level. When I'm going through and I've got my notion, okay, this is how I go, this is how it's going to be, and then suddenly a clangor comes in and it stops you from being and going. All I do is plot twist, plot twist. And when you come from that notion, it feels so joyful. When it feels joyful, you move and say, actually, what is the gift in this for me? Because here's the thing, if we are on this earth to heal, then isn't that what we should be doing? It's not what we should be doing, is taking responsibility, the ability to respond to the situations that come up for us to move along our joy path. Because I promise you that when you move up the vibrational level, so what do I mean by that? I mean that when your emotion, despair and sadness and anguish, There's a vibrational level which then that's all you see. And I know that because I lived it. So I know what each and every single one of you feel.
Can I say probably some people don't know about vibration word. Okay, you're going.
Yeah. So what do I mean by vibration? So I want you to imagine this for a minute. When you're feeling real despair, do you sometimes feel as if then everything goes wrong? Right? So when one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong. When you lift out of that and then you find something that goes right, everything goes right. Right? Okay? What that is, in the spiritual world, we call it different vibrations. So we have an aura. So I work with 5 bodies. So we have 5 bodies. And our aura is our energetic field. So what happens is, when we're going through these experiences, we release them emotionally, we release them mentally, we release them physically. We release, we could release them in every aspect of us. However, the one place where people forget to release this is in their energetic body. So what do I mean by energetic body? So imagine when you're in a room somewhere and you either feel drawn towards somebody or you can feel somebody looking at you. Do you ever get that? Yeah? Or you haven't met somebody and you either want to just run 100 miles from them, or you just want to go up and just say, oh my God, you're the best person ever in my life. What you're doing is we're such intelligent beings. Our energetic field is recognizing the energetic field of the person with you. So when I talk about vibration, imagine a spiral. So if you imagine a spiral, the emotions that you experience on the lower end of the spiral of anger, sadness, despair, when you move through that, you go to another vibrational level. So even though certain situations may come about and you don't know or recognize that, it's not the same vibration as the one lower down. Different people start coming into your life. Then as you move through that, because we all get stronger, right? We all get stronger because it's called life. We all get stronger. And as we get stronger, we start to experience this different aspect. So different people come into our lives, different opportunities come into our life. And so I invite you today to ask this question: what is the gift in this for me? Whenever you see that, rather than think, oh my God, this is it, this is just awful. I knew before he knew I was going to get married to him. And that's because I'd worked my vibration. I'd worked it and I'd understood it. You can't have the experiences that I or anybody who in a similar situation has had and not have to deal with it. Make sense? So how is this connected to, business world? How is it connected to entrepreneurship? How is it connected to who we are? So in a minute, I'm going to share all of those things with you about, who we are as individuals. But first of all, I want you all to do a little exercise for me. And it's nice that the chairs are all in pairs so that we don't need to look for a partner. What I want you to do, the person sitting next to you, I want you to share your life experiences. Pick one or pick 2. That was like the worst day of your life, but I want you to give it every emotion. So I want you to, and if you please stand up for this exercise, and to be who they are, by letting them be who they are. So there are 4 archetypes that he talks about, and these 4 archetypes are the dreamer. So the dreamer dreams the big vision. The dreamer, like Walt Disney, had a vision. Do you know what happened? Does anybody know the story of Walt Disney? Do you know what before Disneyland was created? He basically knew what was going to come out. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see his dream. Or fortunately, or unfortunately, whichever way we look at it. So his brother-in-law was there, and one of the reporters came up to him and he said, it's a real pity that Walt is not here to see this. His brother-in-law said, I think you'll find he saw this well before you saw it. But as children, we dream, right? As children, we make up all these things. And then we park those dreams. So I want you to invite you to bring out this dreamer in you. Dream. And if you're going to dream, dream big. Okay? Because you just don't know when something's going to shift for you into who you are. The second archetype is the storyteller. What is it, please?
Storyteller.
Right. So we all get inspired by stories, right? Yeah? And those stories are there for you to uplift, empower, and serve. So use storytelling. I absolutely love, when I create my workshops are filled with stories, and then I get people to create their own stories too. Because then they become your signature stories that you can take out to the world and make an impact. Okay? So, again, I'll go back to the children, because children love stories, right? Children love giving stories, and children love telling stories. When did we forget? Yet we all live our own stories, don't we? But you're not your story. That's a key thing. None of us are our stories. They're stories because if we were, we'd still be in them, right? Okay? The third archetype is the thinker. It's what, please?
Thinker.
The thinker is the strategist. The thinker thinks, how am I going to make this happen? Thinker is the left-brained person who is like, puts the dreamer and the storyteller to one side and says, let me do my job. Because now I'm going to strategize and how I'm going to move this forward. Whether it is your own business, whether it's a job you're doing, or whether it's in your family, whether it's relationships, creating money, creating anything you want to create, we all have these archetypes. So your thinker is the one who is left brain, puts the point of fact, and creates a strategy around that. The fourth one is, what is it? Thinker, storyteller, dreamer, thinker. The fourth one is leader. So the leader is a really, really important one for each of us. And the leader is important because we cannot lead a whole nation if we cannot lead ourselves. Okay? So the leader starts about you. How do you lead yourself out of something? And there's some cool exercises that you can do with this. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time today to play all of them.
Still have a half an hour. If you want to play any important exercise, we'd love to do that. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to get into groups of 3. We've got enough for 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go for 4. We'll go for groups of 4. Right, so in the group of 4, okay, if you get into your groups now first, and then I'll... Because it's about working on your business, working on your life, not in it. And I really invite you, I cannot tell you enough about the dreaming room. It is the most beautiful, fantastic process ever. And it really brings out, what's there, hidden inside of you to make it something. I'm a real result of the dreaming room. I did the dreaming room in California, and my life has never been the same since. It's just, and I don't even have a website that's completely 100% represents what I do. However, I'm as successful as you can get in my own right. Yeah? So I invite you to come and talk to us, come and get involved. And if you don't want to get involved in that, you just feel you just want to get some healing done, then please do get in touch. My life's mission here is to get everybody on this joy path so that you can live your truth, because you don't need to be in this story anymore, and to live that essence. What I wanted to do, I don't know if we've got time.
We got another 10 minutes, yeah.
10 minutes. If it's okay with you, I want to give you a little bit of a taster of my future life progression that I do.
Yeah.
Is that okay to do?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So the future life progression is a beautiful visualization that takes you into your powerful future, so you can bring the wisdom of your powerful future and hone in on them. And so today I just want to give you a little bit of a taster of it, and if nothing else, at least it will shift. If you do decide to come and work with me, please, I'd be so happy to get you to the next level and get you to a stage where you feel completely content in yourself. And if you don't, then I hope this visualization is really, really impactful for you and you enjoy it. So just put everything aside, and I want you to just keep your feet on the ground and keep your hands up. So it's in a space of receive.